30 weeks after the first case of coronavirus was reported on ASU's campus, the state is now nearing 200,000 cases, adding another 311 today. The coronavirus has cost at least 4,100 Arizonans their lives so far this year. That's hard to swallow, and it may have contributed to up to 3,000 more deaths in our state. It's been a dire year. Nobody can argue deaths are up dramatically, especially last month with a 58% increase. We reported on this increase last week, and on social media, it caused quite a stir, with some people trying to poke holes in how deaths are linked to COVID. We have found no evidence to show something other than the virus has been to blame for that stark increase. But ABC 15 data analyst Garrett Archer and reporter Nicole Grigg did uncover inconsistencies in how state and county health officials classify a small portion of COVID-related deaths.
A new report by the Arizona Public Health Association looking at the number of deaths per capita over the past 10 years. The purple line shows 2020, and it's a 58% increase in deaths in July from this year to last year per capita to calculate in population growth.
I think it's obvious that it's tied to the pandemic.
Will Humble with the Arizona Public Health Association confirms there were 7,100 deaths in the first 7 months of 2020. 4,100 of those deaths are known from COVID-19. So this suggests that an additional 3,000 deaths during this period may be indirectly attributable to the pandemic.
Obviously, the biggest impact has to do with just the people who died directly of COVID-19. But the secondary effects are really from delayed care, people who didn't go into their primary care doctor or a specialist, because of the pandemic.
But new questions tonight about how are deaths counted. ABC 15 learning that Maricopa County counts people who die with the disease, even if the disease was not the cause of the death.
I want to reassure everyone that every single person who has COVID-19 listed anywhere on their death certificate is in fact counted.
It was during a press conference last week that a top health official in Maricopa County said this about counting deaths.
Even if it's not listed on their death certificate, anyone who has a COVID-19 positive test within a certain period of when they died is also counted as a COVID-19 positive death.
In Maricopa County, anyone who tests positive for COVID-19 within 60 days of dying is counted as a COVID-19 death. Asking for more clarification, we learned that the largest county in Arizona will count you as a COVID-19 death if you die in a car accident and tested positive in that time frame, although they say fatal accidents are a small subset of the total. But just last month, the top public health director in Arizona, Dr. Kara Chris, said that does not happen.
So if somebody is COVID-19 positive and is in a car accident that had nothing to do with the COVID, they are not going to be counted in the COVID numbers.
That was part of a phone interview with ABC 15 data analyst Garrett Archer in trying to understand how COVID-19 deaths are counted.
In the conversation, she did mention that, the attendant physician is primarily responsible for figuring out or coding the death certificate if it is a COVID-19 death or not.
We reached out to health officials about contradicting statements. The Department of Health Services not clarifying anything, instead sending us an old blog on how deaths are reported with no direct answers.
If you back up a second and say, let's concede that there's different ways to count a death as it relates to COVID-19 or not. Let's just look at all-cause mortality for a second. And if you look at all-cause mortality, that doesn't lie. Those are people that died, period.
In those deaths still without a definite cause, he likely account for some. But Humble says a Pima County Medical Examiner report shows no data to support other spikes in causes of deaths outside of COVID.
And so, to me, I think at least we couldn't find any data to suggest that there was an increase in suicides or opioid poisonings.
In Phoenix, Nicole Grigg, ABC 15, Arizona.